Okay, let's start by just looking at the square root of negative 28. The way we simplify this radical is to try to break it into a product. Now, when I try to make a product out of negative 28, I want to use a perfect square number to do so. Now, the perfect square numbers I'm going to list over here on the side. They're 4, since that's 2 squared, 9, which is 3 squared, 16, which is 4 squared, 25, which is 5 squared, 36, 49, and so on. Those are the perfect square numbers. Now I want to use one of these numbers to make my product. So the only one that will divide evenly into 28 is 4. So I want to make 4 times 7. Now it's important that you pick a number from the perfect square list. But I need that to be negative 28, so I'll make that negative 4 times 7. And I've broken that square root into a product. Now, the reason we chose a number from this perfect square list is because we can actually compute the square root of negative 4. The square root of 4 is 2, and I'm sure you've learned that when you take the square root of a negative, you have to use the imaginary number I. So the square root of negative 4 is 2i. Now, square root of 7, 7 is not a perfect square, so there's nothing we can do with that but leave it under the radical. So the square root of negative 28 is 2i radical 7. Now, we can complete the problem. So we have 8 minus, and now I know that radical negative 28 is 2i radical 7, and we have that all over 2. Now, lastly, what we can do is I see that these 3 terms are all divisible by 2. So I can go ahead and divide those all by 2 to reduce this down. So 2 divided by 2 cancels out, gives us 1. 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. And 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. So this simplifies to be 4 minus 1i radical 7 over 1. And that 1 in the denominator we can just drop. So the final answer would be 4 minus I square root of 7. And that's how we would complete this problem.